going through that. It's in. Oh, there's English. Yes, let's go.
Yes, we can actually read it. Oh. But yeah, there we go. You just pretty much said that. 4 teams into 4 groups, single round robin for day 1, and then the top 2 from each group progress over to day 2, which will be a single elimination bracket. And then the 3rd, 5th, and 7th are the place tiebreakers as well. So, I mean, I guess it's similar to a lot of the formats that we've had at our international events so far, LAIC and EUIC.
Yeah, we should all be pretty familiar with this, and I really like that. We're getting kind of a, like, everything's getting closer as far as, like, formats and skill level as well, like, across the entire world. For anybody who didn't know, while they're doing a lot of talking in this draw, if there's a lot of talking, I actually have no idea how long the stream is going to be. I'm going to be 100% honest. It's kind of... We're just enjoying it as we go along, or at least I am. But yeah, like last year, there's so many things to talk about ACL last year and the year before that. It had a very, very different format for anybody who didn't know. Actually, they're talking about right now some of the ways that these teams qualified. You can see it on screen. The Japan League top 4, that is how I believe 4 of the Japanese teams qualified. And I mean, as far as like regions, I think, how many regions are there? There's SEA, there's India has its own region, there's Chinese teams, technically there's a North American team. Did I say Japan? I don't know. There's a lot of different ways that people qualified for this.
And then we also have did you mention the 2 China teams as well that are joining us, joining the ACL as well? So that's 5? Hopefully I've done that math correctly. 5 different regions coming together.
I think so. And technically, like, some of the regions are bigger regions. Also, side note, Shinohara is doing this in English. I just noticed. So hold on. Let's see if I can hear what he's saying. Yeah. Yeah, he's saying it all in English. That's awesome. Little behind the scenes is at Worlds we had a chance to talk to him, and we had been at events with him before, but I didn't know how good his English was, and so we had a long set of talks with him. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was actually really lovely. I know. Trying to communicate, like, I feel bad because, well, in terms of my Japanese, it's lacking. So, I got time to learn Japanese because I think it's good that they're at least making that effort to try and communicate with us in English. Well, hey, we gotta reciprocate that effort back, don't we, Chef?
This is actually what we were asking, or what you were asking specifically. You can see on screen if teams from the same region are being like pulled for a group, it looks like they're going to be moved to the next group where there isn't anybody from that region. And it did seem like they were splitting up, like Japan's its own region, the like out of regions, which it looked like was China, and the LAIC winners, which is North America for now. Of course, we're very happy about that. They're like a region, and then it looked like maybe APAC was a region. So we'll see exactly who is considered part of each region. But that's really similar to what we did for the Worlds draw last year, which, by the way, I brought a souvenir from the Worlds draw, which has definitely been sitting on my desk for almost an entire year now. But
wait,
we did
so
that as
you
well.
did bring the pineapples. I said there was no pineapples and no coconuts during this draw show. Well, I mean, you throwing pineapples and coconuts. Please don't throw the pineapple. Actually,
all right.
You gotta go in for the slam dunk.
It's my last one. It's the very, very last one, so I can't break it. But
no.
That's pretty cool, though. I mean, the fact that we're not going to have the same regions go up against each other, but that also does mean that basically every group will have at least one Japanese team. Every group will probably have one Southeast Asian team. So it's going to be spread out pretty evenly.
I think, well, yeah, you mentioned it earlier, whether they're actually going to split C up, because for the winter tournament, which was another way to qualify for the finals, they had the APAC West, but then also APAC East. So whether they're considered 2 different or whether they're actually just combining those 6C teams all together. So the 4 from the Asia Champions League and then those 2 from the winter tournament. But also, how cute is this? They have a little Pokeball. Is that a Voltorb in there?
Maybe.
Wait, is this where they're pulling the names from?
Yeah, I think maybe they don't have they don't have pineapples, but they do have Pokeballs, which is really cool. I hope that they do it that way. That seems like that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's, I mean, hey, pineapples and coconuts, Pokeballs. I mean, I feel like this is, going with the theme at least.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more than the pineapples and coconuts, but no, that was because it was Hawaii. Oh wait, what he's saying?
From the ball,
Yep.
team name card will be existed.
The team name card will be in there, yeah.
And so 16 balls, all of them.
Thank you, Shinohara.
Will be opened. So the 完成する。トーナメントが完成します。
All right, I'm glad that we have some English assistance here. This is making it definitely a lot easier for us. I'm pumped though. I mean, as they're continuing to talk. Okay, so like I was saying, right? There's so much like backstory to ACL and the Asian tournaments before, and how it's leading up to Worlds right now. So honestly, I could yap for a long time, which I may end up yapping for a long time.
We may have the time. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, we'll see. Or this will be over in an instant.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I went back.
okay.
I went back and watched the Worlds one. Just, I guess, just memory's sake, but also just, I guess, in terms of refreshing my brain in terms of how the draw shows work. And I guess that one felt pretty quick in comparison. But I guess that was one that ended up coming after. I believe this is actually being done live as well. So. No editing cuts in this one.
Yeah, that one. It took us a little bit of a while.
Wait, why are we waving? We're waving, chef. I don't know why we're waving.
I don't know why we're waving, but I always want to wave at the Japanese casters. They're amazing.
They're saying hello to us. I think that's why. They're saying hello to us.
But also, hi to everybody out in chat out there. I hope everybody's very excited. Oh, look at that! That's so cool. They've got like the little like display box. I think they're starting.
So these are phase 1. What's in it?
Oh, I see. So this is a region. So they're probably gonna go just. Oh yeah. So these all 4 can't be in the same region. They're all gonna be in 4 different groups.
Aha. Okay, there's one way to do it. So they must be doing this for all the other regions to split them up then as well. Doing it by region. Who do we have first? Gotta unfold it. It's always the tricky part, isn't it? Also. Oh, Insomnia. So they'll be in Group A. Also, I feel like we may need to take a little trip around the screen in a second, Chef, because, well, we're blocking these things down bottom. So are you ready to go for a bit of a ride upstairs?
I am. I'm scared. We're rotating top right now.
We're rotating to top lane. Hopefully this is all good.
That kind of works.
It works, but I wasn't sure in terms of the format how it would be, so I've just put us down there, and hey, we're here, we're scuffed, but we've rotated up to top lane to go visit Regia LAIC.
Once again, we're getting a little bit of information in English about this team. Of course, this actual stream is on the Japanese channel if anybody wants to hear that as well or go back and revisit it. But yeah, Insomnia, what he was just saying, 3rd place team in the Japan League. It's got a lot of relatively like newer players to I guess like the like official competitive circuit, but there are some players on there like I know Obion was on Secret Ship, so definitely a strong team, and just being 3rd, obviously quite good in Japan.
Who do we have next here? Ooh, Fennel! I mean, I was gonna say, if you don't know Fennel by now, may have been hiding under a rock in 2024.
Well, just in case, maybe there's people out there who don't know, but that is our current world champions from this previous year. They didn't really come together until like halfway through the previous season, and it was they were like the first ones to get sponsored. They're one of the few teams that were sponsored before this season, and obviously they deserved it.
I think it's been really interesting to see just the back and forth between Fennel and Zeta Division. I know Zeta Division has defeated Fennel. I don't know if it's once or a few times. So I think it's just knowing their history, given that, you know, they did pretty well in 2024 at Worlds, becoming the world champions. The fact that Zeta Division have been given the run for their money this season, I think that's what I'm really most excited about when it comes to Japan.
Right, and we'll see if Zeta Division is the next pull. No, it's going to be Nagoya Oja? I don't know how they pronounce their team name exactly, but that's a fourth place team in the Japanese, ACL Japan. There's so many different ACLs for a bunch of different regions, all the sub-regions basically that are in this. So they're fourth place, which, again, there's a lot of great teams. You just call them a dark horse team, and that's another good way to put it, because I don't know anything about these players. Like, obviously they've done pretty well, but they're like players that came out of the woodwork like right when the team was put together. In fact, like a lot of them even have their like social media accounts started on that day. Like they might be robots. I'm not sure if they're real people.
I'm sure they're real people. I mean, I guess we'll get to see them play on the stage at ACL, so that'll end up confirming it, won't it?
Maybe. I don't know. Technology is pretty good right now, but
you just imagine you know how they have the screens and they actually roll about. You just have those.
Yeah.
Five of those representing their team. No. Now I'm getting ridiculous.
We know who's in this last one, right? Once we get to the final one, we don't have to question it. Maybe they put Fennel in twice. Maybe that's how it works. But Zeta Division. Oh, wait.
It's upside down.
Yeah. Can I say, as somebody who's done one of these draws before, my greatest fear was having it be upside down and showing it to the screen. I was so scared of that every single time. But yeah, Zeta Division. Currently in first place in the Japan ACL, which, like you said, is pretty big considering they're up against the reigning world champions.
We can see them. I mean, so far they don't know who their opponents are yet, but knowing that they're. I mean, I like how they've actually separated each of the teams from each of the regions up. I guess because they've been versing each other all season. You know, we want to see how they fare up against all of the other regions. So I'm actually really liking this format.
Yeah, it's really, really good. For people who don't know, of course, this is the pool draw for the Pokémon UNITE ACL Finals, which is the big combination of all of these tournaments, and there are so many that led up to it. The winner of this is going to be getting the second confirmed Worlds invite of the entire season, and like leading up to this, there was like Japanese ACL, there was India ACL, there was like SCA ACL, there were individual tournaments, which we're going to see the winners of those in a different group. There was like the winter tournaments. I think they had like the SEA like winter tournament West and East.
Yes.
There was the Japanese winter tournament. I think got a spot. There's so many different little events.
India as well. So each of them had their. I guess the winter tournament's sort of like that last chance qualifier, really, to the Asian Champions League, if there were. To put it into those type of terms. But even then, I think, I know for India, their format was different to how it was held in the other regions. It was more, I guess, with Japan and C, they had the like league style where they accumulate points, whereas for India, which was more of like that King of the Hills style. And then it was, I mean, obviously we'll end up seeing a little bit later and we can talk about it then, but we do have phase 2. We have, I'm sorry, I've blocked it here, but we have FN Esports, who's at the top there, Alter Ego, Buriram, United Esports, and Paper Rex. So all of these are from SEA. These are the top 4 from the league. So the winter tournament qualified teams aren't actually in here. guessing they get put in later then. They must be their own group.
Their own group. Yeah, I think they're their own group. And then the other group is is both the Chinese teams and then Luminosity and then and then India as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so FN Esports, very familiar name to anybody who watched Worlds last year. That is previously Moran Sejong or Zora Tigers Gaming, the second place potentially at Worlds last year, in case you managed to see that match, which you definitely should, because they were a really, really amazing team. I know they got to do some like cool events in Japan as well afterwards. They like flew them out to do an exhibition match and stuff like that. So they've been doing very, very well. They continue to do really well. They actually had a pretty tough early season early in this season, but they pulled all the way back through, and they're looking to be just absolute monsters again, representing Korea, by the way.
Yeah, I know when I was going down my deep dive in terms of history with these teams, so we have Chobo and Mule, who is actually Spirits. So they've renamed to Spirits for this season. They've actually been playing since 2023. So those that tuned in during 2023 World Championships, those two were on Actual. So the fact that they've, gone together over these years, and now it's 2025, it's kind of cool to see. But even then, just the fact that, they played together all last year and going and hitting the 2025 season together is pretty cool.
A lot of these SEA teams have been playing together for a really long time, at least like a majority. So we'll see if we get another one. As this is going to be the first team going up against Fennel. So I know everybody's terrified. Do not want to be in this group, but it's going to be Alter Ego. That's a great. Wait. Oh wait. Okay, no, it was copy chance. So Alter Ego, for anybody who, again, there were so many name changes because of the fact that it's like a franchise league in Asia this year, and plus it's just popping off, so there's tons of sponsors. Alter Ego formerly was Shin and Rode, which is a team that did very, very well, and they're actually also a team that they beat Kabi-chans in a few tournaments, so well known for being able to do that, but we're not going to get that rematch. They're going to be in a different pool. But going up against Fennel, that is huge. This is a team that was like top 16 last World. And most of the members were on Orangutan, which was top 8 in the previous Worlds in Japan. So just an absolutely terrifying team, and Group B is looking too scary already.
Yeah, I'm wondering, what would be the icing on the cake? I mean, if we want those rivalries and revenge arcs, if LG ends up getting put into Group B, because it was Orangutan who ended up losing to LG in 2023. But hey, we never know if we're actually going to have that run back.
See, now they're going to get put in that group, and you're going to get like a message from Overlord, like, why did you curse us? That would be amazing, though. I mean, there's every possibility of this, right? With the fact that there's so many different regions, like, there can be some really stacked groups. And like I said, this is already a super stacked group. I mean, just looking at the first picks from Japan, Insomnia and Nagoya Oja are definitely like the lesser known. So you definitely, like, those are the groups that you probably want to be in, if any. Plus, that's just how the seeding goes. But Alter Ego and Fennel, both second seeds, kind of in their respective groups. So already, like I said, looking very, very scary.
I was going to say, even though they're lesser known this season, don't underestimate them, Chef.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, yeah.
No, you never know. You never know what could happen. As you mentioned, the dark horses. So that's maybe where it becomes scary, because they're lesser known. There isn't as much research in terms of, their strats and everything on broadcast. Oh, Paper Rex.
Paper Rex, okay. Paper Rex, another team. So, you were saying never underestimate the, like, lesser-known teams, and I felt like there were a lot of SEA teams over the past few years that I super underrated, and this was one of them. I think I went on record at World saying that they were, like, my favorite team to watch at that event, at least until they got eliminated. But this was Team MYS back at Worlds, currently Paper Rex. They're slightly different. So, like, Nightmare Foxy's not on the team anymore, which is a shame, because I love watching Nightmare Foxy play, especially with the random green picks every once in a while. But still a very, very strong team. Night Green and Foxy. Night Green and Foxy.
That's the one.
Yeah, this team super scary, super good. They played 5 defenders at Worlds, and they won. That's a real thing that actually happened. But they were top 16 at this Worlds and top 12 at the previous Worlds. So every SCA team is just a monster. I love this region. I think they're like maybe hot take. I think SCA might be the overall most consistently good region in the world.
Ooh, why do you say that? Is that just because of the way that a lot of the teams stick together, or is it?
They just have a lot of good teams. I really don't know if I have like a good reason other than that. I mean, they have like 8 different teams coming out of SCA that are all incredibly scary. I mean, literally every single one of these top 4 teams that's in this group right now, right? Like the kind of pool, which we're about to see. Obviously, next is going to be United Esports. These are all like top 16, top 8 teams at Worlds, and this is not even the end of like where SCA places. And this team as well, extremely strong, representing Thailand. Kelosaurus, kind of Kelosaurus. 2 members of Kelosaurus, which were another huge upset team at the last Worlds. So, like I'm saying, SCA, they're just also terrifying. I'm so scared of that region.
Yeah, and the fact that there's 6 teams from SEA as well in the Asia Champions League this year, so there's definitely a lot of those teams to go through. But I don't know, these teams so far, they're all kind of just looking scary. I think Group B though, I look at Group B and that one there is the nightmare team though.
Definitely so far, that one's the scariest. Group D as well is pretty scary, depending. I mean, there's some like really great names that we've seen. Like I said, the Kicklock players I'm very familiar with. The other players that are on Burram are not as familiar to me, but you know, like Pufaza and like SGC, the most hard name to say in the entire world. Great players, and I feel like they're like an upset team. So you never know. That's a really scary one. Zeta Division as well. They're a team that like can pull off some like weird things.
That's what we love. We like weird things, and I think that's likely why I really enjoy watching Paper Rex and the players from that team. Because their signature from the previous years, it's the 5 defender comp. Like, it's just so unheard of, and the fact that they make it work.
They now aim for victory with a fresh roster.
I like how he brings in a little bit of English.
Yeah.
It's like every single time he talks, I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta listen to this. But all right, back to Japanese. And we should mention, by the way, what? What did we miss?
I think it was a little bit of a blurb about one of the teams.
Oh yeah.
Pay attention, chef.
I heard him say. Oh, no, I heard him. He said. He was paying attention, I swear. He said that they were like looking basically for like a fresh like win with a fresh roster, which is, like I said, kind of basically what they've done, right? One of the teams that did not stick together fully, but obviously have done quite well. They're 3rd place within the SEA ACL, so I think they're quite good.
Play award from FN Esports send a message to Luna and cheers him with direct message. So Insomnia and FN Esports have relationships with them, but they are rivals in the same group.
Rivalries are already developing here for Group A then.
That does make sense, though. FN Esports, they for sure, I know they play with a lot of the Japanese teams, right? I mean, being from Korea, they're not that far off, so I don't think they're like ping's an issue. And like I said, I know that they've traveled to Japan to play with the Japanese teams after Worlds, so definitely, I'm sure they've played with all the Japanese teams. I feel pretty confident saying that.
They a little jealous to his handsome face. But try to defeat with his Pokemon UNITE skills. So
Oh, which one would you rather, a handsome face or being good at Pokemon UNITE?
I don't know, it's hard to say if you don't have either. I can't really, I can't compare.
Why not have both? Surely you
Can
can
I
have
say-
both.
Can I say, speaking of handsome faces, that Shinohara is the most handsome human being on this planet? He is, right? It's ridiculous. It's unfair. What a smile that guy has. Sorry. I'm just gonna say good things about him constantly. I'm a big fan.
Oh, not only that, he's a pretty talented caster. And is
Yeah.
super knowledgeable. Oh.
And all the Japanese casters are super passionate as well.
Yeah.
That's one thing that is like a little bit more behind the scenes. I have a video which I never uploaded. I definitely need to upload it of like as Japan was winning worlds, like the both Japanese casters stood up and they turned around and they were screaming and like he put his hand in the air and they were like crying. It was amazing. So
Oh,
I love
definitely
all them and I'm
one of my favorite moments, just seeing them. Get all emotional.
Oh.
Oh, I mean, it was also just that, them behind Doob and Spraggles as well, who were over in the other booth, and they were just all losing their minds.
It's great to be a part of that. We're lucky, but I'm glad that this is actually I think a good moment to bring it up. So we talked about the fact that like we wanted to like all of our goals back in the last Worlds, we were like, well, like we love you guys a lot, and like they talk about how they love us a lot, and we're like, well, we would like to like have more connection with the Japanese team. And it's really cool that for this, obviously, we're gonna have Zoinks, Doopsnack, Spraggles as like main casting for the English stream for ACL, and the first NA team ever to travel to ACL and actually compete. So it's so cool that like we're this far in and we're just continuing to like build the bridges with these other scenes around the world. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's the newer developments that we see each year. Those new integrations that we see, I guess, with Luminosity joining, but also with China joining this year as well. But the fact that it just keeps on growing. I mean, back 2022 Worlds. Was it 2022? That was what was it? 8 teams? I think so, and then now it's up to over 30. I mean, even we were just talking at the beginning here, how for ACL it only began with 6 teams back in 2023, and then now we're at 16 teams. So
More and more.
Here we go, phase 3. Ooh, so this one's a mixed bag here. So we have Godlike Esports from India, Revenant X Spark as well. So they're the ones that qualified through the winter tournament. We also have the Japanese team who ended up qualifying through the winter tournament as well.
Oh, so this is just all the rest of them.
Yeah.
Every single one. Okay, so this is where it gets really scary. And obviously, I think we all are interested in seeing Luminosity, but first one, Revenant
There we
X
go.
Spark. So I have some really interesting, like, at least one of them what I've noticed. Yeah, this is an Indian team. And India is really interesting. They've got 2 teams. They've got Revenant Spark and they've got, Revenant X Spark. And then they've got Godlike Esports. And last ACL, if anybody watched last ACL, Team True Gravity was just making a huge splash. The biggest splash any Indian team has probably ever made. Now, originally, Team True Gravity kind of turned into Godlike Esports, but a lot of the members left, and so they did kind of split up, not exactly too evenly. I would say the majority went to this Revenant X Spark team, and now they've qualified once again through their winter tournament, and the team that they used to be, which is Godlike Esports, did win through the ACL India tournament. So there's a really kind of like a return of most of the players of Team True Gravity, just not on the same team, and maybe a little bit of a rivalry, I would have to assume. But if anybody knows more about that, just let me know, because India's kind of hard to see.
Ketchum might actually know some things. He's usually pretty knowledgeable. I mean, not only with India, but I think just all of the regions.
Yeah.
I go to.
Yeah. The other thing about this team, by the way, is that there are a lot of members that were on Revenant when it was just Revenant. Revenant's been a team that's been around for a long time. Lots of really well-known players. Crowley is on this, who is somebody who was at the very first Worlds, right? Just players that have been known for a very long time. So it's a mixture of that. Some players that were on Team True Gravity, some players that were on both Revenant and Team True Gravity. But it's looking to be a very good team, and I really want to see India do well again this ACL. They weren't able to make the Worlds run, make it to Worlds, but I think that there's a lot of potential with how they played last year.
Yeah, I think I look at this roster and I'm like, there are some familiar names on there as well that I recognize. But I guess we're heading on in to the box again. Which team is going to be drawn out next? Drum roll.
I don't think he said a word.
B. Oh, Godlike Esports. Okay, so both of the teams from India have actually ended up in different groups there and drawn out first.
Now that's joining kind of what we thought maybe was the hardest group so far. So that's going to be really interesting. Definitely, again, a tough pull. But obviously, there's no easy pulls, and as it goes on, it's going to be every group is the scariest group. But I basically just talked about Godlike Esports. I actually think maybe none of the members are currently playing on Godlike that were from Team True Gravity. I know that they were maybe at first, but it's a lot of players that I'm not as familiar with, so I'm excited to see how they do. Like I said, I really need to go back and watch their ACL events because I haven't seen too much of them.
Yeah, that was the one that I was talking about earlier, where they were in 7th place, so they began at the bottom, and then they worked their way up, beating each of the teams up until that first place. And it was just a godlike run, I guess you could say. But I know there's a pretty iconic clip as well that ended up going around from that tournament, and it was one of the players ended up going and picking up a few extra AOS energy on the ground, but because they ended up picking up the AOS energy, it took a lot longer for them to actually dunk, so they ended up wasting that extra 1 or 2 seconds to pick up the energy, and then they ended up getting interrupted. So it would have been that winning goal. But yeah, that decision would have ended up costing them. But I know that was just watching that, it was just insane. But yeah, Godlike. They're the ones that ended up winning it all after it, so it was pretty epic.
Godlike luck. Wait, Blitz in Dream Factory. Oh, that's sorry. Okay, yeah.
Can I just say, I love this name.
Yeah, I do too. Is this a team that got picked up by another team? I had a different name for the Chinese team, so maybe that's my information being wrong.
No, I had them down as Team CHR, so unless they've gone in with a name change, I'm not too sure whether they've gone in with a name change. I wouldn't say it would be a different team there, because we have Utopia there, and then even then going back and looking at the Shenzhen Masters, which is where these two teams from China qualified through. So it was the top two that ended up qualifying to the finals, which was Team CHR and Utopia. Yeah.
Right. So maybe their team name's different. The Chinese teams, personally, are the ones I know the least about, for sure. Oh, wait, hold on. Let's see. Shouldn't I have information?
Any esports fans should recognize the name. China's entry into Pokémon UNITE could accelerate the game's competitive scene. It will be fascinating to see how they perform. 中国リージョンが
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I really don't think there's like very little information about these teams, but that's one of the coolest things about this season, right? Is that, I mean, especially with like China being added, there's a lot of new Japanese teams added as well. I think that this is like going to the last ACL, I had information on basically every team. Into this one, there's a lot of teams that I don't know nearly as well, and you never know. You never know. I mean, China's serious about esports. I'm excited to see them for the first time.
Once again, just a demonstration of the growing scene. The fact that we're getting new players coming in every single year as well. Love to see new names, but I think, yeah, China's definitely the interesting one. Obviously, the mode is now accessible in our mode, but they have been playing that 500-point mode. So to come into ACL where it's a completely different thing, and there we go, LG, Group D. I think this is what a lot of us were waiting for. Where is Luminosity gonna land?
Luminosity in the same as Zeta Division. That is awesome. That is super awesome. And then, I mean, as well, Verum is such a strong team, like I said. That is maybe starting to look now like the scariest group to me. Luminosity is on a run. For anybody who hasn't been following along, Luminosity has won. They've already been invited to Worlds. They already earned that through the AOS Cup at UIC. They won LAIC, which is how they managed to qualify for this tournament. They've won the majority of the online cups this season. They're looking kind of unstoppable, and they are the only chance for the West. So I know a lot of us are going to be cheering for them, especially me, who's just spectating, so I get to cheer as loud as I want. Woo!
I think it's also the fact that they have already landed themselves a world spot. So this is just another one. Would be another one of those extra flexes for them. But they qualified through here back in November during LAIC. So that was the first tournament of the season, the first international that we ended up having, the first one that we've actually had for the Pokemon UNITE Championship Series as well. So that was pretty hype. But yeah, the fact that they ended up winning the first one of the season, going into ACL, have already landed their spot by winning EUIC. Luminosity Gaming, they're kind of scary.
A little bit scary, I would say. But yeah, that is okay. Hold on, let's see. Legendary team
representing regions outside Asia. Now making their HCL debut this time, Slash and Kirios. Well, back absent in the previous season.
A lot of them were absent.
Returned. Could this be the revival of the world champion of 2022 and 2023? It's so fascinating things.
Yes. Yeah, that's the big storyline here. Again, for anybody who's maybe watching that hasn't been following along for several years, is that Luminosity Gaming, in several different, slightly different versions, has been world champion 2 different times, 2022, 2023, and in 2024 they had, honestly, I will say it in the kindest way because I do love all of them, a pretty miserable season. Before the season even started, they split up into a bunch of different other teams, and none of them really found that much success. They did qualify for Worlds, but they didn't get a chance to make it very far. Now they're back together, stronger than ever, it kind of seems like. And this is the first tournament we're going to have basically both of our, well, we only have 2 world champions, right, amongst 3 different years. They're both here. Fennel and Luminosity. It's going to be awesome.
So whether they'll end up both landing in day 2 as well.
Yeah.
The top 2 from each group. So 2 will make it, 2 will not. But oh, Utopia from China going into Group A there.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, so Group A has a lot of first fully played out group. Again, you know, don't know Utopia all that much, except for the fact that they are one of the 2 Chinese teams. But there are a lot of like wild cards in Group A for sure. I mean, Insomnia, I've seen some of their games. They're strong. Like I said, they have some players that I'm familiar with for several years. FN Esports, extremely strong. Definitely got to be maybe considered the first seed out of that group. Reverend X Spark, well known. I think this is pretty good.
Still is mystery.
I think I like how it's a mixed bag as well. We have a representative from Japan, SEA, India, and China. So there's no crossovers in terms of those, but I guess with the other three groups, there's still one more Japanese team to go, and then there's still the two APAC teams left to go as well. So there'll be some crossover for those three groups, but yeah, Group A.
Yeah, technically the last three picks are guaranteed to be a crossover, and it just had to happen that way because there are so many from these particular two regions. So we'll see who ends up maybe playing against a team that they've known a little bit longer. But again, even if you lose there, it's the top two out of each group, and then it kind of gets reset into a single elim. So, all right, Team B, still scary, super scary group.
Who's next? We're almost at the end here.
I know. Okay. Kakigoya Rising. So this is going to be the Japanese team, and they're going to be in the same as Fennel. So this is the first technical, repeat over each other. But they're again a team that I know a lot less about compared to some of the other Japanese teams that we've been seeing. But I mean, there's still a lot of great Japanese teams that I do know that didn't qualify for ACL. So I would have to assume every single one of these teams is really good. I mean, I don't even need to assume. I know.
Yeah, that was the one that I didn't really recognize a lot of the names from. So once again, a bit of that wild card in terms we don't really know what to expect when they go up against the other regions, because I believe this is probably the first time that we're actually seeing this team, or the players from this team going up against the other regions as well. Besides, obviously, Fennel, who they would have had to verse during the Asia Champions League for their region. But I'm actually curious. I'm wondering how they ended up faring up against each other anyway. They ended up... I mean, from the top of my head, I wouldn't even remember.
I think some of these teams that played in the winter tournament may not have been in ACL as well, because I do think that one's franchised now, right? So this is the winter tournament winner. And I know that their team name is based on one of their players, right? So they're Kakigoya Rising, and Kakigoya is one of their players. I feel like we have a pretty high success rate in Unite for teams who are named after a player for whatever reason. But we'll see if that continues. And yeah, I don't really know much about them. So hopefully we get some... Oh, wait, you saying something?
It's like international version. So the Japanese team they keep an eye on Kakigoya Rising. ウィンタートーナメントでも、ウィンタートーナメントを勝ち上がってきた実力は本物だよと。
Yeah, definitely, probably like a wild card is what it seems like.
Yeah.
そう、これ言っときますわ。200チーム以上
I mean, if they won winter tournament, that's definitely something.
Japan,
Yeah.
200.
Over 200 teams they had? Jeez.
Is entered.
Wow.
Although they are not part of, they are not part of the Pro League. They have a chance to prove that Japan still has many strong players outside.
Oh, that's okay. So yeah, they weren't in ACL. That's a cool storyline. Okay, I'm really looking for them going into Worlds. And at least, I'm sorry, not Worlds, into ACL finals. It feels like Worlds. It feels like Worlds.
A mini version.
Yeah, or maybe not even that many.
All of the internationals are a mini version of Worlds, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, we have all the world champions. Okay, so we're definitely getting Talon and Onyx Rise for these next two.
They'll both split up.
Yeah. We'll see. This technically also reveals the
Onyx Rise.
Okay, well, Onyx Rise, very well known. Again, if anybody's been following along the scene, they're an Indonesian team. They made it to the Winter Open, obviously, which all these last few teams that we see are, but they made third place at last Worlds. They were almost certainly the team that, well, maybe the team that people in general didn't expect to get as far as they actually did, but it's not that full team. So there are a few different members. I believe 2 members that are different. They have one member who's AXQ from RRQ, previous team, and I mean, regardless, third place at Worlds for the majority of the team. probably. I mean, we have multiple like second, third, first place at Worlds teams in this tournament. I didn't even really realize how many there were. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, actually, it just goes to show in terms of the fact that we're seeing these repeated names come in every single year as well. But those that aren't familiar with Onyx Rise, Eeyore, Luna, Zoe, Axq, and Cell, who make Onyx Rise up. So some names definitely. I think I recognize all of these names here.
Yeah, Eeyore, Luna, and Zoe, I believe, were the ones that were on Onyx Rise previously. Axq was on RQ. Cell, I know less, but
I was gonna say Cell is the one that I'm a bit unsure about. But I'm sure we'll end up finding out. Is there another blurb for them as well?
Michelle says that
perfect timing.
the team Onyx Rise is similar. Onyx Rise uses similar strategy with Japanese team. So what point do you think the similar strategies of Onyx Rise, Michelle?
Let's see if he answers in English as well.
Yeah, if he's gonna
Or
translate
translates answer.
for us.
Yeah.
戦術面がすごい似てて、その最小限の戦いしかしなかったり、その防衛がすごい上手いんですよね。
It's doing all of our job for us. We should just not say anything. We just sit here in our cameras.
Sit here and smile and nod.
Onyx Rise has really good defensive skills.
Ooh.
So Onyx Rise is really hard to こじ開けるみたいなリスクを取らせないのがうまいってコメント欄の方今の和食の言ったこと全部英訳してコメント欄に書いてください。OK これで完了です。はいありがとうございます。では
Okay, so that means that they do have experience playing against each other, which that's interesting. I do assume that a lot of the okay, we get to see the final one, but we already know, right? Who could it be? It's just a different team. If you get picked last, you're just out of the tournament. That's how it works.
What? No, don't be chucking in new rules into here, Chef. Talon. I've got to say, I have a soft spot for Talon, the Talon boys. Yeah, I always love watching Talon, and they're just a lot of fun as well. They're just good vibes all around. They're always just so happy, and they're also just really, really lovely and sweet. So actually getting to chat to them last year at Worlds was really cool. So they're a team that are from the Philippines. So they were the ones that qualified through the Winter Open as well for APAC East. But
Right,
they were at Worlds last year, I believe they made top 8, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
They made day 2.
I mean, okay, so again, my hot take that you know, SEA, APAC are like the strongest region in the world, possibly, potentially, consistency-wise, maybe not like top of the peak, but of our teams that we have here in ACL, it was a second place, 2 top 8s of last year at Worlds, right? A second place at Worlds, 2 top 8s at Worlds, 3rd at Worlds, and then 2 teams that were top 16 at Worlds. That's ridiculous. That's like the majority of the top 8 and top 16 at Worlds are just SEA teams that are in ACL right now, ACL finals.
I mean, it makes sense. They have 6 spots to go and fill up here, so that makes sense, Chef. Good mathing.
Well, no, I'm saying the majority of the world's top 8 is here in the form of SEA teams,
It
right?
could have been other teams that haven't actually represented at Worlds before. Is that what you were getting at?
Or went to Worlds and didn't place well, like LG maybe.
I think a majority of the C teams ended up placing well at Worlds anyway.
Yeah, they did. Every single one. Oh no, I think only one didn't make it to day 2, and I can't remember who it was, but it was. Yeah, I don't know. I'm blanking, but it might have been Onyx or EvoSonics, who by the way, were really close to making this. Onyx Rise beat them in the grand finals of the winter tournament to make it here. So another, Worlds team that just unfortunately was like one step away from making this unbelievably stacked tournament. But hey, we got all the groups now. What do you think is the scariest group? I have my answer quite easily, but you tell me yours.
I was going from Group B, but I think I've shifted, and I think Group D. seeing Zeta Division and Luminosity Gaming in the same group. Amongst that, you have Talon as well. So Group D and Group B, they're the ones that I have my eyes on for sure.
Yeah, I think they might be asking them what they think the hardest group is as well right now. Possibly. I can only kind of hear it behind.
What about
but I think they did just say D as well. Mine's D. Easily. Everybody watching, I want you to type in chat what you think the scariest group is, and if anybody has any opinions that are not D.
They will be champion, but other 3 team is really strong. He knows.
Okay, so just confidence. Confident answer. The players always got to give the confident answers. Okay, what is your most unknown group? The one that you really don't know what's going to happen. I know, I'm putting you on the spot here. Because I don't have my answer for it yet. D, I mean,
I think
D is unknown because it's so hard, but yeah.
Group C, I think, is the one that I'm a bit unsure of. Group C. How about yourself?
That's fair. Group C is quite scary. In any team with the Chinese, any group with the Chinese teams is a big question mark for me. Mine has to be probably Group. Maybe Group A. Insomnia obviously being like kind of like 3rd place as far as results out of Japan, a very scary region. FN Sports being very strong, but losing to Japan last year at Worlds. Revenant X Spark being like a newly formed team for this season, and then Utopia complete unknown. So I really don't know that one at all.
Yeah, I think that's where it gets a bit difficult, doesn't it? And I think they're the groups that are also just really exciting to watch, because a lot of the matches are probably going to be really close as well. So I feel like a lot of the matches that we're going to see at the ACL finals are going to be close. They usually are. These are the top of their region for a reason, and they've made it to the finals for a reason. So
to Luminosity Gaming, never fight to Luminosity Gaming. So this is first time.
They haven't faced LG yet.
So really looking forward to.
I think a lot of the regions haven't had a chance to face this LG because they only would have had a chance 2 years ago, and the Asian regions have grown so much over the time that LG was kind of like refinding themselves. So it's a cool comeback story, honestly, for LG, and that is going to give them an advantage. The fact that nobody got a chance to play them. They are currently in Japan, I think, training, so they're probably going to get scrims against some of these groups. I know that they actually have, but aside from that, it's more of an unknown. By the way, he hasn't said anything. His entire job was to pull the Pokeballs. I love it.
I like that job.
Yeah. That's a great bit.
I think that was a really good point that you mentioned as well. The fact that Luminosity are already over there in Japan, boot camping and practicing up. I mean, also, who wouldn't want to extend their trip in Japan as well? It's not just about practice, but I just feel like there's so many things to do over there. So I hope you have a great time getting to spectate these matches and also get to explore as well. Getting to meet the players and the teams again.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see the Japanese crowd. For anybody who hasn't been to any of the offline events where the Japanese teams have been at, I'll say the two regions that are always the loudest is Brazil and Japan. Always. And I'm so excited to be able to mingle a little bit more with the Japanese crowd because I haven't had a chance as much since Japan Worlds.
Yeah, that was back in 2023. I mean, even then, just 2024. Yeah, that grand final, the crowd went wild. So, I mean, the fact that we actually get to see that similar crowd as well. I mean, a lot of the friends and family there for Fennel, who ended up, a lot of them will probably end up actually being there since it is in Japan. And if half of them were already loud enough in Hawaii, well, you better get some earplugs, Chef.
Yes.
We love that passion and that excitement.
Can I say this bit of him really not saying anything the entire time is so good. That's like a level of like the North American casters bit for sure. I'm in love
So
with
he
this.
hasn't actually said anything at all. He's
Yeah.
just sat there and nodded.
He's just sitting there. That's amazing. It's so good. I wonder if they're doing anything else for the course of this. Who's getting on stage? Oh, the other casters. Look at that. Why, were they here this entire time? Were they just sitting around, just hanging out? I mean, that's cool.
Yeah. They get to watch the action live.
They have so much fun. They have so much fun. I really want to hang out with them as well. Hopefully get a chance to in Japan.
This is full member of Japanese Netcaster. So 結果のね感想をぜひ教えてほしい。
感想もあるんですけど、
そうそうそう。
まず
So I'm always just listening to what they have to say. They're little English tidbits. I have to rewatch the entire stream and just listen to him.
No, he brought so much good information as well.
I
The
know.
fact that they ended up putting the little blurbs after each team was drawn out,
彼らが何をしてたかはどこかで
asking their special guest questions as well.
どうですかこのグループじゃあパッと見て見てた抽選会
まあそうですよね見てましたよもちろん、なんですけどまあやっぱりねグループ
They're talking about their opinions on the groups.
Yeah.
なるなとは予想できます
Yeah, Group B is really scary for sure.
タロンスポーツって本当になんていうんですかね
Okay, Kello, one team that you're really looking at going into this entire thing. Like, one that you're not necessarily, like, cheering for, but one that you're, like, really interested how they're gonna do.
It's obvious. I feel like it's obvious for a lot of us, but for me, it's Luminosity Gaming. The fact that this is, as it was mentioned earlier, it is their debut into ACL, the ACL finals. So, yeah. I mean, I feel like I have to go for the obvious answer. If I have to go for the non-obvious answer, though.
そういったことを言いました。
じゃあレフさんは、
そうですね。まず
I'm really interested to see how both of the China teams hold up as well. I mean, it's once again, same thing. Debut into ACL, and I guess in terms of having Pokemon Unite available to them, it's on the... It hasn't been as long, and also the fact that they are also in a different mode as well. So, you know, what their training regime
ほぼ情報がないというか、別ルール
has been like to actually prepare for this tournament, I think is one thing that I'm
WCS ももちろんあるんですけど、
curious to
な
know.
っていうのがすごい僕は
Because it's
Right, I mean...
totally different.
早く来てほしいな。
Yeah, I'm super glad that we're getting them as a region finally, but there's no doubt about it. They're playing from behind, right? Just as far as like the amount of time they've had to play and like you said, the region stuff. So it's kind of like we need to see which of their teams will really rise to the challenge, if they, you know, which is obviously extremely difficult because so many teams are so good this season. Every season is just more and more competitive, but so you know, it's going to be tough for them. So if they make any sort of like, you know, any sort of big impression, any big upsets, it's like an even huger upset because like you didn't have the chance to practice as much. This is your first chance to be in this season, so that is going to be very cool. My answer though for a team that I'm really curious about now, I'm a fan of Kakigoya Rising now that I've heard their story a little bit, which again, thank you Shinohara. The fact that they were not in ACL and this is I mean they had 200 teams in an open tournament and they wanted to show that like they're like, oh yeah, teams that are not in the pro scene are still very, very strong. That's like a great storyline to me. I'm kind of cheering for them, but I mean, less information about them for sure.
Yes. I'm curious to know what everybody in chat. Which team do they have their eye most on? Which team are you most looking forward to seeing on the stage? Well, you've heard our answers, whether they're a little bit more obvious like myself or a little bit more under the radar like Chef.
Well, you have a lot of regions that tend to watch your stream, so yeah, I mean, there's got to be a lot of. I mean, we talked to so many people from SCA, right, from APAC, that certainly you're going to have some teams they're cheering for over there. I mean, I personally love a lot of those teams as well. So I think a lot of them, like, they stick together and they're really great players and they're great personalities. And that's another scene that I wish, you know, we got more interaction with, which we do get a decent amount of interaction with online, like more than the Japanese scene, for example. But I wish we all got to, you know, be at events together more. So again, that's great for ACL.
Yeah, 100%. More travel, more mingling, and just yeah. But hey, travel gets expensive, all right? It has to be very few and far between, and it always makes it all the more special when these events do end up coming around as well. But we do have some answers here. Ketchum says insomnia. Aussie Morwell says obvious one is LG, but they're looking out for Paper Rex. We have someone as well saying Fennel, LG in the Chinese teams. We have Lytton, the Lytton. What was there? Lytton Factory. I love that name.
I forget. Yeah. I'm excited for Paper Rex as well. Like I said, TMYS was like my favorite team probably to watch at Worlds last year, and I was so impressed by them. Slightly different, but also again great players that are replacing other players. So I'm excited for that. And this is the information for the finals, by the way. If anybody has watched this and they're like, "What are we even doing this draw for?" It's going to be very, very soon, like just about 2 weeks from now. It's going to be March 29th and 30th. Obviously, it's going to be Japan time. I know it's taking place in Shinjuku in Japan. So if you want to watch, you might have to stay up a little bit late. Probably
depending on where you're from.
yeah, maybe be up early as well, one of those two, but certainly it's going to be worth it. 2-day tournament. I believe it's going to be group stages for day 1, and then day 2 is going to be the bracket. Pretty similar to what we do as far as the international championships.
Yeah, the top 8 bracket, single elimination as well, where every match counts. That's where things really start getting nail biting. But I mean, you get to be there yourself, so obviously we'll end up having the Japanese casters there, and well, we're lucky and we have an English broadcast as well happening where Zoink, Spraggles, and Dupe Snacks will be doing the coverage for that. So if you haven't already, definitely check out Pokemon Unite Esports on Twitter. That'll give you all the information and also give you the times for when the ACL finals kick off. Because I'm not sure in terms of the actual time yet. So go to socials. That's where it'll be.
It's gonna be early Japan time is my guess, because it's gonna be long days. So probably like midday in the US, and probably starting at like midnight your time, Kelo. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. That doesn't sound right.
That doesn't sound. I'm only two hours ahead of Japan.
You're a few ahead of it.
So I think usually what? I don't know.
No,
I know
midday for you then.
Yeah.
And then not midday at all for like late like evening for the US. There we go. Time zones are confusing, but that's it. All right. I didn't know if there was gonna be anything else as far as this goes. We gotta wave. I didn't wave. Wave.
There we go. Oh,
that was fun.
We're all done and dusted. We have our groups already. But that is going to be it for us, Chef. But once again, those folks that are looking for information on the Pokemon Unite Asia Champions League finals, which are on the 20th and 30th of March, go to Unite Esports on X, formerly Twitter, to check out all the information. The English broadcast will be on this YouTube channel, Pokemon Unite. So if you haven't dropped a sub to get notified, definitely do that as well. And I believe it'll also be broadcasted over on the Twitch channel as well, which is just Pokemon Unite. But otherwise, thank you everybody so much for joining us today. Any final words before we head on out, Chef?
These groups are terrifying, and there was no way that they couldn't be terrifying. Literally impossible for them to not be terrifying. Yeah. You see the first team in every group, and you're like, well, there's only one team in each of these, and it's scary. But I'm so excited. This is going to lead into World Season as well. This is the start of everything, basically, for the end game, the postseason in a way. So definitely be sure to watch that. And everybody, of course, also thank Kelo for putting this together so that we can all watch it together.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody joining us, and thank you for coming here and yapping and sharing your knowledge with us here, Chef. But definitely safe travels over to Japan, because I know you'll get to be there, and we'll definitely be keeping an eye out and listening for your voice out in the crowd, yelling at the top of your lungs. Surely you'll come back with no voice, right? We always come back with no voice. It's the way when it comes to those international events.
maybe a few times, maybe one.
Yeah. But otherwise, that is going to be myself, Kelosaurus, signing off, and WonderChef. But thank you, everybody, so much for joining once again. And we'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.